Awesome. Well, welcome back to Blab number 2.
There you go.
We have a long history of blabbing with Mike, who is CEO of OnSIP. My name is Angela. I'm with Mojo, and we work together with OnSIP to do some cool things. And this is one of them. We found Blab and thought we would try it out. Last week we had a lot of fun. A lot of people joined in, and even had a customer show up, and had good questions. So I don't know. I'm hoping we can have a strong follow up. But I felt like week number 1 was pretty cool. What did you think?
Absolutely. It was. I like this format. I like the ability to kind of get the information out as a tweet and have people come in and join us. So I like the integration there. So yeah, let's keep going. This is great.
All right, sounds good. So I know we want to have you, just do like a little intro so that anyone that's joining us that maybe wasn't here before kind of knows a little bit of who you are and your background and things like that. So you want to tell us really quick a little bit about you and OnSIP?
Sure. So my name is Mike Oeth, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of OnSIP hosted VoIP. We've been around for about 11 years now, and we provide VoIP service for small and medium businesses. We started the company as as another way to use open source software to help businesses to compete against larger phone installations and other options that are out there, and now it's just a whole hosted VoIP platform and system for mostly still for small and medium businesses to provide their communications needs.
Awesome, great. And I have a personal question for you too.
Okay.
Okay. So I've got my hot chocolate here, ready to go. So
okay.
Are you a hot chocolate drinker, coffee drinker, chai latte? Like what's your morning drink of choice? The viewers really want to know.
Yeah, not even a question, and it's coffee, and specifically Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I don't know what it is. It was something in college that was the nearest coffee place was the Dunkin' Donuts, and so I got hooked on Dunkin' early, and it's still there. We actually in our offices here in Philadelphia, it's literally right across the road.
Oh,
so
nice.
we do a Dunkin' run every morning and come back with coffee for everyone.
That's cool. Now, do you get like the French vanilla one or just the regular one?
Just medium hot coffee, cream and sugar.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I always have to bring
20 years.
I have to bring that back for my friends whenever I go to the East Coast. I have to make a Dunkin' run and like pick up the coffee and
there you go.
All right, cool. So we've got a few interesting articles that we want to talk about this week, and I'm gonna post the first one over here, the Blab session. And the first one that really caught my eye was a lot because of the title, right? And the headline. And the headline is "Death of the Telephone: WebRTC and Other Top Comms Text Trends for 2016." And so for those who may not be as familiar with WebRTC, do you want to explain a little bit about it, and also why it may or may not be the death of the telephone?
Sure. So WebRTC is a technology. It's part of the HTML standard. Previous to WebRTC, if your browser wanted access to the speaker, microphones, and video camera on your computer, your browser had to go out to a third-party program like Flash or Java or something like that. And then that program would get access and bring that information back into the browser. And what Google and others who helped to set the HTML standards decided to do was to create an actual standard called WebRTC, Web Real-Time Communications. And that allows the browser to have direct access to speaker, microphone, and video. without a third party having to get in the way and download more software and all of that. And with that, WebRTC was born, and so it's been a part of every Firefox and Chrome browser for probably a year and a half now, probably going on 2 years. It's in the latest Microsoft browser, so not Internet Explorer. I'm blanking on the name of their new browser. It's not in Safari yet. Apple's still kind of running a little bit behind on this one. Mm-hmm. But basically, it's the ability for the browser to have direct access to speaker, mic, and video. And what that allows you to do is have real-time communications directly in the browser. It doesn't specify the WebRTC protocol doesn't specify how those calls are set up. So you can write your own protocol. You can use one of many. We like to use the SIP protocol, so the same protocol that's used to set up VoIP calls, and SIP has become early on, maybe 10 years ago, there was probably some VHS versus Betamax type of conflict on which protocol was going to win the VoIP and become the VoIP standard. SIP ended up winning that, and that battle's been over for probably 10 years now. And there's no best answer for the call setup for WebRTC, but SIP handles it very, very nicely. And there are a number of tools, including our own open source tool called SIP.js, that can help to do that call setup. So yeah, this article is interesting. I do like that, the death of the telephone. Are you an Alton Brown fan? Do you know Alton Brown? Do you ever watch any of his shows?
I don't know. You might have to remind me. I'm not a big TV person. Is this TV?
So TV chef. So
okay.
He has his own program. Just I'm a big fan. He approaches cooking from kind of a science point of view, and it's which is a lot of fun. But one of his big pet peeves is in the kitchen is single-use devices. So, or tools and implements and so forth. Everything in the kitchen should have at least a couple. In order to earn a place in the kitchen, it should have a couple uses. And what this article talks about is the phone. The phone is a single-use device. It's there for one thing, and it's just communications, and that's really it. And what they're saying is with WebRTC, it's moving away from this device that's either in your pocket or on your desk, and it's communications when you need it, how you need it, when you want it, where you want it. Mm-hmm. And that's really what WebRTC does give you is the ability in a website to you're in the shopping part of the website. Here, click here to talk to someone in sales or someone who can help you here. You're over in the billing part. Click here to talk to someone in billing. You're in the admin portal. Click here to talk to someone in support. So it routes you around all of the attendant menus and all those button presses, and it gets you directly to the people that you need to talk to when you need to talk to them, and looking at the screen that you need to talk to them in. So yeah. It's interesting. I don't know if the telephone is ever going to go away, but it's interesting, and I think we've certainly seen. Not the death of the telephone, but certainly the death of PSTN minutes. Yeah. Not that they've completely gone away, but they've definitely gone down. And part of that, sure, is Twitter and Facebook and all the other ways that people can interact with companies. But WebRTC is definitely a big part of that as well. People still are going to want real-time, at least audio, if not video communications with a company that they're looking to buy from, or they've already bought from, and now have a relationship with, because everything is now a service. It's rare that you buy something and then just walk away from that vendor, especially on the business side of things, and that might get into the looking forward to 2016 conversation a little bit, but as a small business, when you sure, you're going to buy your copy paper and pens and pencils, but when I think about everything else that we do as a small business, it's an online software as a service, and therefore we have a relationship with these companies. They're not just a vendor; we have an ongoing relationship with them. So.
Yeah.
WebRTC is definitely going to help and change that and make that a big difference. It's already happened in 2015. It's going to be even bigger in 2016.
Yes, for sure. So one of the questions that I had was related to the possibilities section of this article, and they're talking about some pretty cool things about like having potentially a QR code on your business card that links directly to your contact page. Some of these other things. Are you guys seeing anybody do stuff like that really kind of tries to like merge both worlds, or anything creative you see any people doing or businesses doing with WebRTC?
I've had it in my email signature for over a year now. So in the bottom of my signature, you can click a link and do a video chat with me.
Oh, wow.
Over WebRTC. And you don't have to have an account. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't need to download any software. Just the latest Chrome or Firefox browser or Microsoft Edge. That's what it was. The Microsoft Edge browser. Any of those, and you click on that link, and it would call me. Now, if I'm logged into our web-based phone, then we can have a video chat. But the cool thing is, WebRTC can be integrated with just the regular phone system. So if I'm not logged into the web-based phone, the phone on my desk would ring, and so you would be on a web-based phone and talking through your browser, but I'd be on my desk phone.
Yeah, very cool. Really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we move on to the next article?
QR code on my business card.
I
like that.
What was that?
A QR code on my business card. I like that.
I read that. I was like, wow, I would have never thought of that. That's really cool.
Yeah. It is just a link. It's totally doable.
Yeah.
Neat.
It's really cool. Okay, so why don't we, before we get to the 2016 predictions, which I think is awesome, why don't we go to the other article, which really talks about, this zooms out a little bit, right? They weren't specifically addressing WebRTC, but the idea that, high tech means high sales for small retailers. And this is a really interesting concept to me. I know for some reason it reminded me, and this is kind of a bizarre reminder, but I lived in Ecuador for a while, and this was back in like the late 90s, and many people like completely skipped like the whole PSTN technology. Like very few people, especially in more remote, like rural areas, completely skipped having a landline and went directly to cell phones, right? And so it was almost like, and I didn't even own a cell phone at that time, so it was almost like this, this group of people like took a big leap ahead in technology just because it was a little bit more feasible. And this article kind of reminded me of that, of just how some of these small businesses can employ some like really high tech things and suddenly be, really affecting their sales. So, I mean, what struck you as you took a look at this article?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's not a generational thing, but sort of kind of is. Companies that are getting started in 2015, 2016 are cloud companies, and that's what they know. That's how they use the internet. Their mentality is not, let me go reinvent the wheel over here. Oh wait, there's a payment processing system. Great, let me use that. Oh, there's a way to track all of my sales leads. Great, let me go use that, and just pull in all of these pieces that are out there, and they're everywhere now. And so it's just the mentality of, hey, I'm starting a business in this day and age, and look at all of these things that are out on the internet and all these resources that are available to me. big data, and it's amazing what you can do now. What you used to have to go and buy a whole Oracle database and thousands of consultants and hundreds of thousands of hours and all that to try to get you the data that you need, that you can now go to. There's a million and one places out on the internet now that you can go and either give them your data or have them run A/B tests for you. All kinds of cool stuff. One of the cool links I saw was Optimizely, which I thought was a cool name. So I started to look at that for us. So yeah, just some really great resources, and now it's just the whole that's your mentality.
Yeah.
Now. So.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that they pointed out in the article just the value of niching, and that's something that I see a lot in the companies that we work with. Is just, they were talking about this provider that specializes in like guitar picks, right? Or things
right.
Like getting that detailed, and I always find that like really fascinating that it seems like as we progress and get more connected online and things like that like you can have a whole business based on like one very specific niche product and use technology to like find people who are looking for that one thing.
Right.
And so that was interesting for me. The texting at the end, what they mentioned at the end with the texting, do you guys do anything with that, or do you know any companies? Like, I know that's probably more of like a B2C sort of thing, but
right.
I just thought that was an interesting take on like a jewelry store texting its customers. I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys text your customers?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. For my second full-time job is my daughter's basketball coach. And there are some great resources out there now where I can post a message to this app, and it turns around and sends texts to all of my parents and all of my players.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's great. It's great. I don't know how many times I've shown up at a game and the gym is slightly different than where the GPS says it is, or you have to go to the entrance around the back, or whatever. But I'm usually the first one there, and I can text everyone, and then everyone gets that information right away. It's great. As a business tool, I don't know. Yeah, you're probably right. It's more like B2C. But yeah, the integration of everything is really where it's going.
Yeah, that's awesome. I used to coach dance for a few years. It's been a few years since I've done it, but that would have been like extremely helpful to have a tool like that, because you get to a competition or something and it's craziness. Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Cool.
Team Snap is the name. It's nice. So it's email and
Okay.
Yeah.
Have to check that out. All right. So let's talk about this. The 50 small business trends and predictions for 2016. I'm going to post this over here in the chat, so those of you guys who are watching can take a look. And just overall, my first impression when I read this article was I was a little shocked at how many of the predictions were technology focused. And just there was a little bit on policy, a little bit on marketing. But the most, we're talking about security and mobility and analytics and like all these kinds of things that are very technology focused. So I think that kind of ties into what we were saying before. It's just like, everything for SMBs is moving toward technology. Did you have any overall just impression of scanning the article or?
Yeah, really the same thing. When I first looked at the article, I thought maybe this was from Wired or something because it was so tech focused, but it's just business news daily. I thought it was interesting. There's a lot of information about security and cybersecurity, and that's definitely going to be a bigger story next year. One of our customers called in with a ransomware problem where they couldn't log into our interface because the person who usually logged in had their computer ransomwared.
Oh, gee.
It's the first that that we had run into it. So we were able to get a new user and get them up and in, but that was so I was aware of ransomware, but I hadn't seen it on a business side yet. So that was the first. That was really the first one, and that's one of the things that the article speaks to as well. That just internal security is going to have to be tougher. It used to be viruses and those types of things, and now it's. Are you familiar with ransomware and what how that works?
I've heard of it, but do you want to explain a little bit more?
So it's similar to a virus where they would send you an email with some sort of attachment, and you would open the attachment. Oh, hey, you're late on paying this invoice, and so you click in like, oh, what's the invoice? Like, oh crap, I just downloaded virus. Yeah. So you download this program, and what it does is it encrypts everything on your hard drive. So your entire hard drive is encrypted and hidden, and then they contact you and said, oh, sorry about that. To get the key to unencrypt everything, send so many Bitcoins to this account, and we'll send you the key to unlock your hard drive.
Okay.
So it's a little scary. It's blackmail. It's taking viruses to the next level, and it looks like, according to this article, that it's heavily being used in Australia for various reasons, but their prediction is that it's going to hit the U.S. Start to hit U.S. and Europe more in 2016. And like I said, we've already seen at least once where it's happened to one of our customers. So yeah, internal security where viruses. There have been enough tools to kind of keep those things away. I think internal security is going to be a big thing, and we've all heard of all the credit card breaches and all of the username, password, email address breaches in 2015. Those are so keeping your internal IT secure, and then keeping your customer data secure. Those are going to continue to be big stories in 2016.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was just glancing again at the data in the cloud section and looking at this one is particularly interesting, I think, where it says small businesses will opt for private and hybrid cloud hosting, and saying how, let's see, given the frustration C-level executives have in cloud technology, we may start to see a move towards small businesses wanting to have a tighter grip of their cloud hosting, more private solutions, right. And more of an emphasis on data security. So yeah, I mean, I think as we get more and more data, and all of this information is just kind of out there, right? That the security angle is definitely of a big concern to businesses of all sizes. So
yep. Yeah, and no one's really immune to it. If you think, oh, no one's going to attack me for my data. Pretty much every small business that has a website, has a service, has data that's going to be valuable to someone.
Yeah.
And
that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah. So securing that data and making sure that passwords are encrypted and all those things. Those are very, very important things to constantly be looking at.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we could probably talk for hours on this one article because there's so much there. But for those of you guys who have joined us, definitely check that out. That we posted it there in the chat, the predictions for 2016. And I also wanted to talk about, Mike, what you guys have done with Zendesk, and thought maybe you could share with us. I know that you're using them to streamline your support, some of your live chat, your ticketing, and things like that. But do you want to maybe talk about some of the deployment and some of the things that you've implemented with Zendesk? Okay.
Sure. Yeah, we at various times we've used different systems for handling trouble tickets. And what we found was we really wanted kind of an email-based trouble ticketing system where people would call in or send emails or have chats, could come in and it would create a ticket, but we could respond. But really, the most of the back and forth would be via an email system. We looked at a couple different platforms at that point, and tried out Zendesk and a couple others, and really liked the flexibility that we saw in Zendesk, and the ability to integrate that with Salesforce. So as a customer is transitioning from a lead to an opportunity to a customer, transitioning from the sales side over to the support side, being able to get that information back and forth between Zendesk and Salesforce. So salespeople can see if the customer is calling in with tickets, and then the support people can see what the history of the customer through on the Salesforce side. So nice integration there. The ability to put our knowledge base in as a Zendesk help center. So we had kind of a standalone knowledge base, and we imported that into a Zendesk help center, which then helps to tie everything together. If you have a ticket that is answered by an article in the knowledge base in the help center, you can now tie those two things together nicely. We can see great reports on customers and agents and all that. So, and the last big thing is the thing that I just can't live without, and we talked. I try to take a couple support calls a week, and when I don't have this tool on or installed, creating tickets is 3 times longer. But we have an add-on to Zendesk where when a call comes in, it automatically creates a ticket for me in Zendesk and populates the phone number. It goes and does a lookup on the customer. If that phone number is already tied to a customer, it pulls the customer information into the ticket. At the very end, it puts a note into the ticket how long the phone call was, what the phone number was, and so forth. So we have a great tie-in between the OnSIP hosted PBX and the Zendesk ticketing system through an add-on that helps to automate a lot of creating the ticket, associating it with the customer, and all that.
Wow, very cool. And I imagine anything that you can employ to not only make everything more streamlined but more effective on all sides is a win for everybody. So that's awesome. All right. So last question, let's zoom out again. Okay. And, I know you guys work with a lot of SMBs. And so you're probably talking to a lot of these business owners, and it's nearing the end of the year. Yeah. You're a business owner, an entrepreneur. What advice do you have for any other entrepreneurs, a business SMB, presidents of what to spend these last few weeks doing to prepare for a successful 2016?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's always important when we're talking about, now's the time of the year where at least we internally do our employee reviews. Mm-hmm. We talk a lot about though that we're kind of constantly doing that. As a good manager, hopefully you're constantly giving people feedback on what's working, what's not working. It's not just a one time end of the year type of conversation. And hopefully you're doing the same thing for your business. You're constantly looking at where you can improve. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? So forth. But now is a good time to really focus on that. Really look at that. Look to see what and go back and review where you were in 2014 and what things you saw as strengths and weaknesses and so forth. And then how did you handle those opportunities in 2015? And then what can you do for 2016? So it is a time to really sit down and review the whole history of where you've been and hopefully where you're going. Yeah.
Do you guys do you set any New Year's goals or resolutions or anything like that?
No, not as a company. I do personally, usually having to do with weight loss. Like
yeah. I've been trying to start on that one since October. Not working.
It's those last 5 pounds. They're just a killer.
It's always those last 5. Well, Well, great. Well, hey, thanks again for joining. I think like we've gone over some like great material today. For those of you guys who joined us, please check out the articles on the side. Like there's a lot of great information there. You know, Mike, thanks for your time and insight into all of these things, technology and small business. I think this is really valuable information. We're actually taking these recordings and putting them onto the OnSIP blog. So if anyone who's here watching wants to recap or check something out again, then you can go over to it's onsip.com/blog, right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. To see the recording once that's posted. So any last words, Mike, before we head out?
No, that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, we'll see you again in the new year. This is our last one for this year. So have a great holiday, and we'll talk again soon.
Happy New Year. All right, thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.